All right, what's up, everybody? Got a special guest on today, Steve Shaw. But yeah, why don't you introduce yourself?
Thanks for having me on. I am Massive Iron on YouTube and Ben the Barman on Instagram.
So, the topic that came to mind, I was kind of struggling a little bit to rack my brain for topics. I have a pretty big list, as you guys know. The first thing that really came to mind when I thought of a good topic to talk about with Steve is just the common traits and habits of the best lifters and the best bodybuilders that are most successful and have made the most progress. He's someone that has decades of experience in lifting, natural bodybuilding, and in training these people. So I do want to pick his brain a little bit, but yeah, Steve, I would just say, what is what are some of the general common traits that you see with the best lifters, or even within yourself? Like, what habits and traits do you think have made you successful in lifting? And when you were having your maybe your best years or your best phases or whatever of training, what do you think led to that?
A couple different things I'd like to talk about, but for like me, my best phases of lifting were times when I could be super focused. Not a lot of distractions in life. I could be very routine. I find personally, and I think this is a common, a big point that people can't gloss over. You need a routine. You need a structure. You need to know where you're going and to be able to stay in that lane, for a long period of time. Because if you don't have a structure, if you don't have it doesn't mean you have to weigh food and micromanage macronutrients, but you need a structure. You need to know, tomorrow I'm getting up and doing this, tomorrow I'm getting up and aiming for this protein goal, tomorrow this is my workout. The best periods of time I have had as a lifter, whether it's strength building or muscle building, have been those periods of time when I had a structure and I was able to just to nail the structure for a long period of time.
Agreed. Having structure and having lifting and bodybuilding as a priority, I think is going to be key. When it's really low on your priority list, you can still make progress if you're consistent, you have a good program and train hard. But when you want to take it to that next level and be the best or be your best self or best lifter, having that structure on top of having that as a priority, that's what separates the best from the average, in my opinion. It's not something that should come before family, your health, stuff like this. But when you wake up and you're excited to go lift, and your lifting is your priority, and everything is tailored around your workouts throughout your day or throughout your schedule, those phases of training is what turns out to be key. So for myself, even the phase that I'm in right now, it's not the best because I have a pretty busy schedule, but my meals are geared towards lifting. What time do I have to eat? What am I having for that meal? What's my caloric intake for the day based on whether I'm bulking or cutting? And just being in tune with that and just building that momentum when you have a decent little calorie surplus, and then that feeds your workout the next morning, and you make more progress, and you just keep building this momentum in this routine. That's what helps. I think another big thing here is just going to be measuring progress too. A lot of people just think that the routine is all you really need. And while I agree that there can be benefits to that, it's definitely helpful to actually measure your muscles, set goals too. If your arms are 15 inches, maybe set a goal to have them be 16 inches. I'm not saying to put a timeline on it, like 6 months, 2 years, or whatever, but set that goal and figure out ways to reverse engineer that. What if certain muscle groups grow after 1 month and certain muscle groups don't? Find a way to change that a little bit. And I think having these goals and being able to build that momentum within your routine, that's key for any successful lifter. And when I'm in my best phases, it's when I'm prioritizing lifting, setting up my sleep, my diet, etc., to support my lifting, and measuring my results and setting goals. That's what's led me to have the best gains in certain years.
You make a lot of good points, and I want to stress something because it crossed my mind. This can kind of seem overwhelming to folks. but it doesn't take a lot of time. It really, really doesn't take a lot of time. I train 5 hours a week, and you really only have to train 4 hours a week to get good results. So it doesn't need to take a lot of time. You need to find your training time. Meals, you need to have a structure. Like I eat the same types of foods day in and day out. I don't wake up and it's not random. So you need to take an hour on the weekend to determine what are my eating times, what are my food options. This is not complicated stuff, but you can't be playing guessing games. You need some basic options and basic structures, and you need a backup plan. Okay, I'm on the road. I can't eat what I normally eat. What am I going to eat? Okay, I'm gonna have beef jerky. I'm gonna have a protein bar, whatever. Um, Sleep is not complicated. We all sleep, but you need to take sleep seriously. What can I improve with my sleep hygiene? Can I go to bed at the same time? Can I get up at the same time? So this can kind of seem overwhelming, like you have to completely destroy everything in your life and build it around lifting. But really, it doesn't take that much time. You just need to get your workout times in place. You need to understand what you're going to be eating each day, when you're going to be eating, and you need to make sleep as much of a priority as you can. And outside of that, if you're not waking up, like I fall asleep thinking about my workout tomorrow. Like, what am I going to do? What did I do last time? If you're kind of not in that motivation, passion zone, you probably need to take some steps to foster motivation. Get yourself a part, watch a video every day, get yourself become a part of a community, a lifting community, a bigger lifting community. But I just wanted to stress it shouldn't take a lot of time each day to nail these goals.
Agreed. Yeah, definitely big on that time thing. I think I've spent a lot of years where I was in the gym for 2.5, 3 hours a session, which is overkill volume in most cases, or just overkill rest time for no reason. I think one of the things that you talked about that we talked about a little bit before this video too was passion. And I think for any successful lifter, that truly does, once you build that foundation and you hit some goals, maybe you have like an intermediate type physique, to bring it to that next level, it is truly through passion combined with proper programming to kind of like leverage that passion and that effort and that energy. So that's been a huge one for me, but I'd love to hear your take on how passion's helped you with lifting, because when you look back at your older uh, videos where you posted a little bit of your workouts and whatnot, you could see how intensely you were lifting and how passionate you were about it. I think that's the case for any successful lifter.
I think first and foremost, we need to differentiate passion for a goal and passion for training. Like a lot of people want to look good, right? If I could wake up tomorrow and look like Jason Momoa, right, or Thor, just the sexiest man alive with the perfect body, everybody is passionate. Like, I wish I could look like that. But that's not the same as being passionate for training. And I don't want to come off as sitting on some high mountain like I am passionate about training. And if you're not, it's you have to find your connection point. You have to get in the gym and find that connection point. Find a way, find a workout you like to do. Why do I put out so many different workout structures and systems? So people have a connection point. Find a workout you're passionate about. Find an exercise selection you're passionate about. Find foods you like to eat that you're passionate about. But if you don't have that passion in the gym, uh, there's nothing that can help you. There's just nothing that can help you. So everything you put together should be with the goal of fostering passion. And I will say, like motivation, we have to cultivate motivation. It's something that can be fleeting. And what do I mean by cultivating motivation? You need to surround yourself with people that are kind of on the same path. You need to maybe they're more experienced with you, so you can have connection points, watch their videos every morning, read their articles every morning, be in a community, even if it's just a lifting community like we're in, just something that connects you every day to your goal and helps refuel you or recharge you. But passion, man, I will tell you, I just want to mention, I grew up in a with a very abusive father. And I'm not going to get into all the personal stuff. I'm not special, right? Everybody has their own problems, but I grew up in an environment that was chaotic, or completely chaotic. And when I found the iron, for me, it gave me power. Like I could control my outcome. And that, like when I am in the gym, that is when I love that time, because it is my time to build my body, my strength, and to control my destiny. And for me, I'm passionate, man. That's my source of passion. I love having that power. Few things in life give you that power. And for me, that's where I get my passion from.
Yeah, I think we're all in the same boat there. I think being passionate about your training is something that is necessary. I think having that passion, and this is where, when it comes to pure bodybuilding, you have to enjoy your training, but you also have to enjoy your time outside of the gym, and that will keep you going too. When you're bodybuilding, it's not just being in the gym and enjoying that, because I think I've been on that side of the spectrum as well, where I was just trying to enjoy my workouts a little bit too much, but I wasn't enjoying the results outside of the gym as much. And I started to lose motivation because I stopped caring. So I think it's being able to build momentum between you wanting to have that physique and build up some muscle. And then you find workouts, like you mentioned, Steve, you put out a bunch of workouts so people find something that actually works for them, that they can be passionate and care about. And I think that's part of the programming process, is figuring out and slowly refining what works for you and what you like to do, and then being able to enjoy your workout, get results from that, enjoy those results outside of the gym, and you're building momentum. It's a step-by-step thing where you enjoy your workout, you make progress, you look a little better, etc. It keeps building after that, and being able to, like I said, build that momentum from those two things, I think that's key. And that's something that every successful lifter has. And I think it does come back to that word momentum, where you can just build that up and you can keep going. And it's not just in lifting, but that's anybody that wants to be successful in whatever you're doing. It's building up that momentum and keeping it going, working hard, but still having fun with it too, and kind of enjoying the process. I think
I want
one point that you brought up that I was definitely interested in is the environment aspect of lifting. I think just one example for myself is I've always had this innate desire to lift and get jacked. It's just something I was kind of born with. I talked about that on the channel. I remember being 5 or 6. I was at Olympia Sports with my brother. I went immediately to the dumbbell rack, grabbed the heaviest dumbbells I could curl, which was 8 pounds, super strong, right? And then I've always had that. But even with myself, if I don't set my environment up right with lifting, when I lose motivation, it's easy to kind of half-ass my training and go through the motions a little bit. So how would you go about setting up your environment for lifting? Like, I know for me, YouTube's a big one. I enjoy the online community here, but I'm curious to hear what you've done, because you've lifted when there was YouTube, when there wasn't YouTube, when there was magazines, and you worked in the industry. You've just had so many different experiences with it.
Yeah, environment. I've had some really positive blessings in my life to be able to work around some amazing people and people that motivate. I've gotten to train with Ronnie Coleman. I've gotten to train with the strongest power lifter in the world, Donnie Thompson, at his gym. I've got to meet so many amazing YouTubers and train with them. But for me, you mentioned environment. Environment's all part of creating your own lane. And all that stuff, being able to meet people and train with them is great. But at the end of the day, like, my environment is focused. I need a focused environment. Like, I need all the stuff in the periphery, staying connected on YouTube, with guys like yourself, and staying up to date on the latest information and following people on social media. That's great. But in the gym, like the biggest thing for me is having a good gym environment. I need to train in my zone where I want to be. Like, I don't like going to a commercial gym because there's always some guy yelling out rap songs with his earbuds in for like, 35 minutes straight, and like you're distracted and you just want to go, you know, uh, too many people doing too many things. Like, I don't want to talk to anybody when I'm lifting. I don't want a lifting partner. That's just me. I need to be in my environment, my zone, my focus. This is my time. It's my church. It's does that make sense? Like being in a good environment for some people like to be in a commercial gym because it motivates them more to train harder. But for me, that's a big part of everything, is just being able to be in a proper training and environment.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I mean, that's why I put so much time into the home gym and so much money into the home gym is I keep buying all these things and people are like, why do you have that in your home gym? That's not necessary. I'm like, well, there's something cool about, even if I'm not using that machine row over there, there's something cool about knowing it's there if I do want to use it or need to use it at some point. So it's something cool about, yeah, having your own kind of space. And whether it's a commercial gym or a home gym, it doesn't matter. Like, there's a lot of great commercial gyms out there that have the nice lighting, that have the painted walls that look nice. Like, there's some gyms, like you take Planet Fitness, for example, it's like a purple and yellow super bright gym. Like, that's not a fun environment for most people, but set it up how you want to. I mean, there's a reason why I have these LEDs and the black ceilings up here. I like the way it looks. It's kind of a dungeony basement gym vibe, and that's what kind of suits the mood that I train with, anyways. So it fits the aesthetic, if that's the right word to use for that. Kind of fits the atmosphere, I'd say. And I think for myself, YouTube's a big one too. Like, sticking in that environment and even just making sure, even when I don't want to watch YouTube videos, like, I'll try and watch maybe one a day of someone within this community, even if I'm not really feeling it or I'm a little bit tired of lifting. When I watch someone's video, it gives me ideas and it gives me thoughts and it gives me advice. That gets to a point where you learn so much about lifting and you're so consumed with it that you sometimes forget certain things. It's almost too much. Maybe I just don't have that big of a brain, which is likely the case. But either way, being able to listen to other people's takes and watch other videos and see responses from the community, I think that's a cool thing. One of my favorite things as a YouTuber, if you will, is seeing people make responses to my videos. I think that's a super interesting concept, to hear someone else's take on my thoughts, or even I love to make responses or make videos from topics that other people have talked about and kind of give my 2 cents on that. So just being able to kind of be in the conversation, it keeps things flowing, it keeps you motivated, and it keeps you learning and implementing new things. And that's, in my opinion, one of the more important aspects of the environment that I train in and think in when it comes to lifting.
Yeah, I want to add to that real quick because I've mentioned this before, and I'm 55. I've been training for 38. I don't know, 39 years. Too long, right? And I've mentioned this before, where I'm not sure I would want to be an 18-year-old lifter right now because there's so much information. But the point I'm going to make here is that environment, when it comes to information, you have to be really careful about your information sources. I get people that come to me every single day and they're like, I was listening to the radio and they said, if I eat too much broccoli, it's this, that, or the other thing, or I can only eat 2.3 eggs a day, or I was listening to this other YouTube channel where this lifter said, you should never do, seated incline curls. No offense, natural hypertrophy, but you know what I'm saying? Like, you got to find, I think one of the best things you can do is create a bubble for your environment of reasonable voices that aren't going to get you confused. if you have too many mentors, if you have too many connection points, the wires are going to be crossed. And even though like these guys, if you follow their advice, like you follow Dr. Mike's advice, you follow Greg Doucette's advice, you're probably going to be successful. But you get too many wires and you get too many confusing connection points, and they can kind of bleed over and you start to doubt yourself. So one of the best things you can do in your environment is find your 3, 4, 5, whatever guys that can kind of reinforce things you enjoy doing, the way you like to train, your philosophies, and don't rule out bringing in new information, but don't over confuse yourself. Stay in a good lane. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's essentially building your own outlook and philosophy on lifting. And when you have a base of understanding and philosophy of lifting, then you can take in new information, and it's not going to overtake you and confuse you because you already have that base. So for myself, it's obviously I have my own training philosophy. So now when I hear something different or contradicting advice, I have something to compare it and contrast it to, and I can then I've set myself up to be able to take in new information and think about it critically and assess it properly, versus before when I was just following whatever trend was in the industry. I'm not choosing how I'm lifting, and I'm not choosing the results that I want to get. I'm just going based on what's popular. It's just a trend. It's like, the people that just follow clothing trends and all they wear is just whatever's popular right now. I was doing the same thing with lifting, where everything started off well, and it started off based on good information and my instincts and what was giving me results. And then I fell into whatever was trending at that time. And that's where you start to miss out on a lot of stuff. And that's where you're no longer in control, and the community and the dogmas are deciding what you end up doing with your training. And I think that leads you down a bad path, which luckily I was able to recognize and get out of soon enough.
Yeah, I'm not telling anybody to close their doors and only listen to two people, but when you have 5 different camps coming at you with spears from 5 different directions, you don't know which way to run. But if you have a base of people that align with that you just like, that align with you, you might like their personality, you might like their information, and it's reasonable, right? Then you can start to stay within that comfort zone and build an understanding. A big part of training is to actually have a platform and then to move forward. And one of the pillars of success I talk about is evolving your training based on needs. So you have to have a starting point. And let's say it's only 90%. Let's say there's some information from the people you're following that isn't perfect, right, for you. But you have a starting platform that is reasonable, and you move forward and you learn things in the gym. And now you're able to evolve rather than waking up every day and having 20 different connection points and trying to piece things together. So you were talking earlier about, environment, and, we were talking about structure. I think that's an important part of structure, having kind of a starting point where you can just focus and get to work. And then when you get other information, or you learn some things in the gym that you like or don't like, you can change things. You can evolve things rather than doing wholesale changes.
Yeah, completely agreed there. So yeah, Steve, I appreciate you coming on the channel. It means a lot. I think you've taught me a lot over the years, and you've helped me kind of sift through the BS when I was first getting into lifting too. So yeah, it's cool to be able to talk with you and have you on the channel. So I appreciate you coming on. Where can people find you?
You can find me on the YouTube's a Massive Iron, or on Instagram at Ben the Barman.
Cool. All right. Well, thanks for coming on. We'll talk soon.
Thank you.